When we started out as Americans, we started with nothing, we lost our land, we lost our hunting way of life, we lost our agriculture. For us, it was our apocalypse. Anybody thinks about Native people, they think of the way we look, the way we dress, the way we sing. We're always depicted in a really two-dimensional way. I've always been compelled to create art that captures our story today. Our art as indigenous people, like the beadwork that we had, the quill work, all the design elements on our regalia. At one point it was cutting edge modern art, and it talked about our relationship to place and our relationship to the cosmos.
We need literally for the American people to see us as contemporary human beings. You really look at the way that this invisibility, these stereotypes and these tropes are very much institutionalized within the culture today, to the point that when you Google, 95% of the images that come up are pre-1900. And that's why the art of Bunky is so powerful.
In a lot of ways, I see other artists, replicating what was once contemporary art, and now it's, to me, just like, when I see it, it's beautiful, but it's like a beautiful replica. This image right here is inspired by the fracking operations that we see that are running rampantly through, not only through Oklahoma, but all the way up to through North Dakota, Seems like anywhere there's Indian lands, there's fracking around it. I use our foundational colors, like from our medicine wheel, and so start with the red. There's red, white, yellow, and black, and for us represents our medicine wheel. It represents the 4 directions, the 4 races of mankind, the 4 seasons, and it represents the 4 stages of life. So I try to use these colors and the meanings that are associated with each color in my art. I don't personally follow Christianity, but I respect people, spiritual people, their beliefs and their way of praying.
We have a lot of challenges and aspirations in Indian country that are not covered by the public media, and we need spokespersons in all of the mediums, to tell our own stories here in Native America. And so I hope he continues on that pathway.
Every facet of our life is molded by treaties and broken treaties, by laws and broken laws. And the reality that we live in today, I don't think you can separate the politics from the beauty of our culture.
Do he look like American Gothic? He's pretty affirmed in his identity, so that's something that I continuously look up to and see for how it affects our family.
Sure, I think he's Pawnee.
No.
No?
Shirt. Dinosaur.
He has a dinosaur on his shirt, but look, he has a Pawnee tail. I believe that our ancestors, had a way of living that was good enough for them from the beginning of time until 100 years ago or a couple generations ago, and I think there's something to that,
Bunky and other artists really began to use things like hip-hop and contemporary art and other kinds of ways through culture to really start, a very different conversation about who we are as Indian people today.
I was approached by Nike and 7 Division, it really blew me away. You know, it was a native employee within Nike that, you know, started off kind of, you know, I think in the warehouses, you know, had this idea, and they allowed him to develop it, and they supported him, and they believed in it. Nike N7 collection it's native managed. There are native people staffing the collection, and then native people designing the collection. But then also the sales, you know, from those collections go into the N7 fund, which is you know, the charitable arm, and gets redistributed back into Indian country to fund youth programming. I've always been drawn to that feeling of creation, and I feel like that ties me back to the very creation of humanity. I would hate to drift by my whole life, you know, creating art that just perpetuated the myth that we are people of the past. You can take a manufactured, non-native cigarette and empty it, and it still has the tobacco, you know, traditional tobacco. And this is a spiritual currency, you know, for a lot of tribes. Use this kind of as an offering. I have a lot of love and respect, you know, for our people. This is where my last name comes from, is from this man that's beneath my feet right here. Kurawikutsutuwakua was his name, and the name Echo-Hawk, it was translated from his one of his names that he had for a good part of his life, and it was the hawk whose deeds are echoed before him. The big people, the really influential, positive people, are the ones that we still sing about today, and the ones that we still talk about today, where their names are fresh on our tongues, and people still know about how amazing these individuals were. And so that's my goal, is, you know, when I'm long gone, you know, I want people to sing a song about me, to, you know, at our dances to dance, and to know that this is a song about me and what I did with my life. And you know, that's how I want to live forever.